Good morning, welcome to episode number 3 of the Ibiza Cut. Got 3 coffees left on my Neros and I get a free one. Cemented themselves in the top spot for high street coffee, I think. Very underrated, fantastic. I go between an espresso and an Americano. Episode 3 of the Ibiza Cut, getting some morning steps in, grab a few bits from Sainsbury's, then we'll go and do cardio at David Lloyd and make some pancakes. It's a nice little cafe near like that. It's got an outside bit and I sit outside there with my espresso and it makes you feel like Tony Soprano.
It's Tony Soprano.
How you doing?
What's the matter, no openings in the post office?
Getting a few bits for the pizza. Get the Sainsbury's Be Good to Yourself because it's got 4.7 grams of fat per 30 compared to 6 grams of fat per 30. And for the base, Callum told me to get the Pizza Express passata, but I can't find it. So, going for the organic. There's something quite therapeutic about going shopping in the morning. Getting a coffee first thing when it's quiet. It's good for your mind, for your mental health. Time for fasted cardio. 50 meg IIFYM. A couple more weeks running. 50 meg, then taper down to 10, and then a week before you go away, cycle off it completely. Right, time to make some pancakes. They're decent, these. If I say so myself, I perfected it. Took me a couple of tries. I put everything in the NutriBullet. So just put all the ingredients in the NutriBullet, blend it, and then just pour it into the pan. So you will need 1 scoop of the whey from Strom. I use the custard cream flavour. Very, very nice. 50 ml of coconut milk, 2 egg whites, 1 pack of the apple and blueberry oats from Tesco, and also a little drop of vanilla flavouring. So I put the 2 egg whites in first, which usually equates to about 50 or so grams of egg whites. 60 today. And then I'll go about putting the other ingredients in. And that's what we're dealing with there. That sort of consistency. Now this whole batch of pancakes, so the oats, the self-raising flour, the whey, dairy-free coconut milk, and the egg whites will give you 33 grams of protein, 36 carb, and 5 grams of fat. We just use coconut spray in the pan. Make sure it's piping hot. A couple of sprays of that. And then you just go about pouring them in individually and create like little circle ones. And that's how they should sit. Usually get about 4 or 5 out of them. Probably just get 4 out of them today. They just come out absolutely beautifully. Look at that, thick, fluffy porg pancakes. And you just stack them, garnish them. Bit of raspberry, British raspberry. Maybe a little bit of honey. You're laughing. Anyway, off to Muscleworks because they've closed like one of the main arteries to King's Gym, and it's taken a hot minute to get there. So, plus Muscleworks is nicely air conditioned. TMC Season 1, Drop 2, 23rd of December. Put it in your diaries. We've got small, medium and large now. So if you head over to my website and click on the shop, you can see the sizing chart just to get a better understanding of how these fit. I'm currently wearing a large. As I mentioned in my previous video, in this one, episode number 4, I wanted to touch upon training and go into some detail about what's changing or what has changed over the next 4 weeks leading up to Ibiza. Just to give a brief background as to what my training has been over the past 18 or so months since jumping on board with Callum. It's been quite a high frequency, low volume, very high intensity approach, in the sense that on one exercise, generally I'm doing a top set and a back off set, and both of them are pretty much to failure. The top set most definitely, and even on the back off set, we're pulling that weight off by 10% or so. I'm still pushing to failure on that, and there's been a massive drive on recovery and flipping that switch and really focusing on all aspects of sleep in order to allow fatigue to not build up to the point where we have to continually deload. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely loved it, and not that I was skeptical, but I probably had maybe like an alpha approach where this whole RIR, RPE training is rubbish and we should all be training to failure and just manage recovery, which is a fair point. But I said to myself, look, I've got 4 weeks here before we go to Ibiza. It would be quite nice to experiment. And the reason why is I've come off the back of watching a lot of Steve Hall Revive Stronger podcasts with Mike Rizatel. The most recent one with JP is fantastic as well. JP, this individual that's been training in that particular way for so long, is now get to the point where he can't really go much further. So implementing that RIR RPE scale. I'm in no way saying that I'm Jordan size in that, and that the reason why I'm implementing RPE scales is because I'm too big. Far from it. I think most people should really be training to failure, because a lot of individuals, and the research backs up as well, can't really gauge RPE scales because they've never taken things to true failure anyway. I'm good in the sense that I can assess what true failure is for me. So whilst I'm training, I can in my head go, right, I've definitely got 3, 2 or 1 reps in reserve here. So taking this 4-week training block as an example, as an accumulation, 4 weeks of that, going into then a deload, because obviously I won't be training in Ibiza, is fantastic time. And I've reverted back to an upper-lower split. So upper-lower rest, upper-lower rest, rest. And Nunes loves that sort of split. I used to train like that way back when, and it used to be fantastic. The other thing that I was quite uncomfortable with was that I trained over a 14-day block. So my split would be 14 days. And the downside to that would be the infrequent training on one exercise. And if I were to get to that rotation again, if that machine was taken or out of order, for example, it would then be like a further 2 weeks before going back into the gym. And with that sort of an OCD kind of thing on my behalf, I like to have everything on a 7-day split. And this has worked perfectly. I'm now commentating over this into my 2nd week of this current training split, and it's fantastic. I really enjoy it. You get that spark in for training, and the basic setup is this 4 weeks, these 4 accumulation weeks, starting last week at a sort of 2 or 3 reps in reserve, then moving that into a 2, then a 1, and then my last week before we go away will be all of my sets to failure. And in particular, having the exercises on that schedule that they are currently, upper lower rest, it makes my life a lot easier. I'm utilising Muscle Works here, a fantastic gym. I'm just really enjoying the way things are going at the moment, and I'm not too sure how things will change when we do jump back on board with Callum. If he wants to change things, then that's absolutely fine. But it's always nice to use these little periods of time that you have to yourself to experiment new things, whether that's in a gaining phase and you're experimenting different training modalities or different supplements or different food intake. It's always nice to have that, just so that in further competition preps or in further off seasons you can then go, right, this worked for me and this didn't quite work for me. But so far so good. 2nd week into training, looking at the sort of 2 reps in reserve on most of my exercises for this week, and it's just, again, like I said, it's just sparked that love for training again, I suppose. So I'm very much enjoying it. If you haven't already, check a few of those podcasts out with Dr. Mike Israel and JP. And I'm always a fan of Nunes. I love sitting down and watching Nunes speak about training and all things nutrition. So there we go. That's just a little insight into what I'm doing and what training is for me at the moment. Enjoy the rest of the video. A fantastic session. I find that weight, the plated sort of Dorian Yates-esque pullover machine, is a fantastic activation exercise before you go into your heavy movements at Muscle Works. Time for a post-workout, which is going to be 2 pizzas. Whoa, hold on, Tom. Pancakes for breakfast and pizzas for lunch. Have you gone mad? I'm mental. I've gone Timothy Leary crazy. 10 points, if anyone can tell me who Timothy Leary is, and his famous saying. Anyway, I want to show you what ingredients you'll need for these pizzas. I mean, they're nowhere near a Domino's, but you're on prep, you're dieting, you can take it. What you will need is 2 pieces of low dough. Where'd you get low dough from? From the fucking name. From low dough, funny enough. I used the Muscle Mentors discount code. Feel free to use theirs. I'm not associated with low dough. They are. There you go, Callum and Luke. Enjoy the money. McGregor made us rich. Break out the red panties. Anyway, back to the food. You will need 2 pieces of low dough, 30 grams of the 50% less fat Be Good Yourself from Sainsbury's, some passata, about 25 grams, and 15 grams of the classic barbecue. So the total, chopped up onions and peppers, but the total caloric consumption for these 2 pizzas with everything involved is 15 protein, 11 carbs, so 19 fibre, and fat at 5 grams. So that will make you 2 pizzas. I must warn you though, you'll get through 1.5 of the pizzas and you'll start thinking, which is fantastic. You're on a cut, you're prepping for a show, you've consumed 11 grams of carbohydrates and you're full up. Make sure you push it to all the edges. Still need to do a bit of work, but make sure it's spread it out to all the edges, just otherwise it will crisp off. I forgot one key ingredient, Italian herb. Not that kind of herb. So just, I got mine from Sainsbury's. Sprinkle it around the pizza, and then whack your toppings on. And then for my actual protein source, 200 grams of 5% organic British beef mince from Sainsbury's. So I'll just be having that with nothing else, just a salad, no rice or anything. 220. 7 minutes I do. Get in there. I've got quite a hot oven though. There we go, final touch. A little bit of sriracha. Not bad. Not bad at all. Good morning. Saturday. 4.5 weeks into the cut. About 3.5 weeks left to go. Relatively successful at the moment. Had the usual whoosh effect with weight today. As we can see, midweek we started Wednesday to Wednesday, just because we started the cut on Wednesday. 90.3, 89.9, 90 on Friday, then 89.1 this morning. So a 0.9 kilo drop compared to yesterday's weigh-in, which tends to happen. So today, slight refeed, similar as last week, bump it up to 400, brings the calories up a little bit, and then we drop weight further down towards the back end of next week. Today's refeeds of choice, Nesquik. So the meals that we'll be consuming today will be high carb pre-workout. So usual intake of oats, 2 slices of Weight Watchers bread, my egg whites, and just add some Nesquik in. Then we'll have a post-workout meal, relatively high carb. Pull back on carbs for dinner. So it'll be like a prawn and vegetable stir fry. And then have my oats, a bagel and peanut butter. And then whatever else I fancy. You do get like that when you're dieting. You know, when you're dieting, you walk about and you see a cookie, you think, oh, I'm gonna refeed on a cookie or a muffin. I was watching Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares and he was having a bread and butter pudding. I thought, oh, I'm gonna try and get that in. So then after my prawns, my 0 carb or low carb prawn dinner, I'll have 2 bread and butter puddings. Nothing too crazy, only an additional 150 grams of carbs, so 75% of training day. So 350 today, we'll assess how we get on in terms of scale weight tomorrow. And then tomorrow is date night. It's Arsenal Spurs. We're staying at the Waldorf, go and get some dinner in the Savoy. See you in a bit.
Welcome to my crib.
Hello, welcome to this edition of Cribs. I'm not allowed to eat sweets because they're bad for my teeth, so I just stay in them. Let's do an obligatory room tour. Cuarto de baño 1. Living room area, watching Peaky tonight. And thankfully they do have coffee, Nespresso. Cuarto de baño 2. And where the magic happens. The bedroom. Right, plan of action. You really don't like lift.
How do you know that you don't need to do that?
Because the lift's going up. What an absolute game. We are running a little bit late though. Tonight, this is a two-piece from Zara. It was in the suit bit in Zara. That's where all the shirts are. And I've just picked up a pair of Dr. Martens. I used to wear Dr. Martens all the time, back in my 80s phase. Should always have a pair of Dr. Martens. Anyway, dinner at the Savoy now. Hey, it's me again. Just going to wrap the video up there, here, now and everywhere. I hope you enjoyed episode number 4. I got it wrong at the start. It wasn't episode 3, it was episode number 4. Stay tuned for episode number 5 coming soon. A few more weeks till Ibiza. I've got the bug now, the buzz. Anytime I watch an Instagram piece of a rave or music, it gets me in the feels. I'm very much enjoying the IIFYM come-ups at the moment. 15 meg with an espresso is my sweet spot. Any more, and that might tip me over. What's happening this weekend? Elle's in Ibiza this weekend. I'm going to the second part of Integra's exercise mechanics, foundations of exercise mechanics. This is the practical one, which I'm looking forward to very much so. And then I need to find things to do because I'll be on my own all weekend. Do a podcast with Sammy, I think. There we go. I'll see you very soon. Thank you, good night, much love.